Some days worry, some days glad, some days more than make you mad. Some days more than shine. When you see what's coming on down the line. Some days you say, not me, never. Some days you say, bless God forever. Some days you say, curse God and die. And the day comes when you wrestle with that line. Some days tussle and some days groan, and some days don't even leave a bone. Some days you hassle all alone. I don't know, sister, what I'm saying, nor do no man if he don't be praying. I know that love is the only answer, and the tightrope lover the only dancer. When the lover comes off the rope today, the net which holds him is how we pray, and not to gods unknown, but to each other. The falling mortal is our brother. Some days leave, some days grieve, some days you almost don't believe. Some days believe you, some days don't. Some days believe you, and you won't. Some days worry, some days mad, some days more than make you glad. Some days more than shine. Witnesses coming on down the line. Witnesses coming on down the line. our eyes and watch us where we go, and help us to be wise in times when we don't know. Let this be our prayer when we lose our way. Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, to a place where we'll be safe.
I pray we'll find your light.
I pray we'll find your
And
light
hold it in our heart.
and hold it in our heart.
When stars go out each night,
When stars go out each
remind us
night,
where you are. Let this be our prayer.
let this be our prayer.
When shadows fill our day.
When shadows fill our day.
Lead us to a place.
Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be safe. A world where pain and sorrow will be ended, and every heart that's broken will be mended, and we'll remember we are all God's children, reaching out to touch you, reaching to the sky.
We ask that life be kind.
We ask that life be kind
And watch us from above.
and watch us from above.
We hope each soul will find.
We hope each soul will find
another soul to love.
another soul to love. Let this be our prayer. Let this be our prayer.
Just like every child.
Just like every child needs to find a place. Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be safe. Needs to find a place. Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be safe. Zamru Adonai Bechinor Bechinor Vekol Zimra Zamru Adonai Bechinor Bechinor Vekol Zimra
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to this September 11th. We're going to be spending a little bit of time talking about 9/11. And we begin with a song, Olam. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. The world was created with chesed, with loving kindness. And we can rebuild it with that loving kindness. This is a melody written by Menachem Creditor, written after 9/11.
Olam chesed yibaneh, yadadai, dai, yadadai, dai. Olam chesed yibaneh, yadadai, dai, yadadai, dai. Olam chesed
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We now turn to the lighting of the candles. We began with a little bit of music in this space, and now we move to light the candles. And I'd like to go to 300 North Clark and Cantor Weiss to light the candles for us this evening. We welcome you into our home, and we will light the candles together.
Let's see
Now that we've lit the candles, those two angels that travel to every home on Shabbat, they come by this home and they look in the window and they see that we've lit the candles and they say to each other, may all the houses of Israel be like this one. So we join with our brothers and sisters all around the world as we welcome in Shabbat with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It was 19 years ago today when terrorists succeeded in terrorizing, when heroes' lives were lost, when businessmen and women were lost, when mothers and brothers and sisters and fathers and grandparents and fiancés left families grieving, left a nation pain and injured. We prayed together those 19 years ago for a world filled with peace, for a time when the unthinkable would actually be unthinkable. Sadly, we are still praying for the same thing, a world without hate, without judgment, a world that loves one another more than oneself. But what do we expect? These prayers are ancient. The world has been filled with this despicable behavior for thousands upon thousands of years. Yet, we will continue to pray for the time when peace will reign. We will pray for 2,000 more years if we have to. I need to believe that it won't take that long. That through each of us wishing and praying for a more peaceful world, a more peaceful life, a peaceful moment, it will help bring it about. If not for the world, for and between each other. Please take time now for Chazarat HaShavua, a review of the week. So now we really go out into the fields and welcome Shabbat. Unfortunately, the fields in California are filled with fires. But we can go out there in our minds. We can pretend that it's clear and crisp and green, just like that picture on the bottom of the page. And we sing Lecha Dodi to welcome the Sabbath bride.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, ish miyadu el hameyuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad, shemu tiferet b'leila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
If you'd like to rise at home, we shall in the sanctuary. Please rise as we really welcome the Sabbath bride.
Boi v'shalom, ateret ba'ala, gam besimcha u'b'sola. Tov emunei, am segula. Boi chala, boi Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
We turn now to the Baruch Hu and our central portion of our service.
Baruch Hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach, hamevorach le'olam va'ed. Hamevorach, hamevorach le'olam va'ed.
La, 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 Now we listen. We listen to the world around us. We listen to ourselves on the inside. We try to tie ourselves to each other, to the oneness that binds everything together. We sing Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai We turn now to that moment, excuse me, that moment where instruments must be tuned. We turn to that moment when the Israelites became free. We turn to that moment where they truly became a nation. As they get to the other side of the Sea of Reeds and they realize we couldn't do this alone. And they thanked God for helping them become a free nation. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar turn to the Hashkivenu prayer. You know, in our world right now, it's very easy to be afraid. There's so much going on in our lives that we didn't ask for, but cause us stress, cause us pain, anxiety. And as the night grows dark with that orange glow, we think of those that may be out of their homes because of those fires I was talking about earlier. And Ufros Aleinu, we're asking for a shelter of peace to come over us, perhaps so that we can deal with what's in our lives right now. Sukat Shlomecha. Spread over us shelter of your peace. That prayer, we ask for peace for us. Now we turn our thoughts to those people we love and care about who need peace. Those people we love and care about that need our strength. And so at this time, if you'd like to start writing in the names of those you love and care about so that we can say our Mishaberach prayer for them. There we go.
Mekor
Hyman, Sylvia Sutton, Hanalea bat Hayasura, Harav Yisrael Gadal ben Batya, Hayasura bat Rachalea, Steffi Gilbert, Susie Gordon, Wendy Borowski, Panina bat Gittel, Matisyahu ben Nechama, Audrey Pino, Ron Rosenblatt and Amy Town, Mimi Fellman, Lynn Sine, Helene and Andy Hale, Larry Stemple, Alan Scobin, Bernice, Elizabeth Goldman, Jacob Arujo, God, Tali, Raphael, Anna, Carolina, Marlene, and Lillian, Penina Landau, Jeffrey Kaufman, Napoleon, Maximilian, Irene and her family, Lois Lebman, Rita Newman, Baby Raquel, Franny Gelman, Karen, Joseph, Christina, Jerry, Jokobias, Warren Roston, Taylor Mobley, Jared Blumenfeld,
Dorothy Salkin, Holly Gruber, Jamie Tarsis. Those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us Kennedy Glanz, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I realize that we've already really begun our private prayers. When we sing Ufros Aleinu, it's for us to have peace. We sing Mishaberach, it's for us to have strength, and for those we love to be healed. And then we move to the Amidah, our personal, private prayers for us, to sink deep into our soul, to find what's there, to find what we need for this week, what we have to leave behind from last week. So please rise for Adonai Svatai Tiftach, and then we will go silent, and you may do your own personal prayers.
Take my hand, I'll take yours. Together we can open doors. If you see me and I see you for who we are, then we'll get through. If we sing one song, we stand strong. We stand strong. We stand strong. We stand strong. You feel alone and you're confused. You witness hatred and abuse. You don't know what to do. You see the world is full of strife. So many seek a better life. You ask, what can I do? Take my hand, I'll take yours. Together we can open doors. If you see me and I see you for who we are, then we'll get through. If we sing one song, we stand strong. We stand strong. We stand strong. We stand strong.
No more hatred, no more war. We will rise up one day more. We know what to do. We will love, not fight our way. That's our promise for today. This is what we'll do.
Take my hand, I'll take yours. Together we can open doors. If you see me and I see you for who we are, then we'll get through. If we sing one song, we stand strong. We stand strong. We stand strong. We stand strong. We are not alone. We are not alone. Stand strong. Stand. We are not alone. 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 Stand strong. We are not alone. 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 We are not alone.
Take my hand, I'll take yours. Together we can open doors. If you see me and I see you for who we are, then we'll get through. If we sing one song, if we sing one song, if we sing one song, we stand strong. We are not alone. Thank you. That was a privilege to work on that video. Sorry about that. To work on that video with over 120 cantors. And as just as a reminder that we all stand strong with you during a very difficult last 6 months.
Thank you for that. There have been some glitches this evening because it's the week before Rosh Hashanah, and we've been in here for 6 months. The cantor and I have been like a bubble couple for 6 months, almost 7 months doing this service in this room. And we know you're watching because we can see the numbers on Facebook and YouTube on those feeds. But actually, I don't know who's watching until the end of the service, and I can go back and kind of look online and say, oh, you know, it's so nice that these people have been with us. But this space has truly been taken from us as a communal space, and it doesn't even necessarily resemble the sanctuary that you know and love. Daniel, can you kind of back up from me a little bit so we can show everybody? So, you know, this is the bima, and you all know what the bima looks like. You can go a little further back, little further, and now it's starting to change a little bit, and this will give you That's
No,
not enough.
no.
That's not enough. You got to go back a little more, Daniel. There we go. We're going back.
I'm still not in it.
Yeah, the cantor's not in the shot. Right. So as you can see, this isn't the sanctuary right now that you all know and love, but the way that we've lived our spiritual lives for years and years has been in this space. Take a look at that. It's actually, it's set up for next week for our High Holy Days. We're not really using those cameras that you see, but, and you can't see Amos because he's in front of that screen there, but okay, you can bring him back so that they don't have that reality. This space really has been taken from us, and we have lived our spiritual lives in this space I have for 25 years. And in many ways, my spiritual life is tied to this room, as it is for many of you. And this place and the chapel is where we experience our divinity and peace and tranquility and stillness, whatever it is that you seek inside. That's what this space gives to us. So it's very different to Cantor Weiss and I as well, because there's cameras, as you see, instead of faces. And there's this huge empty space that's devoid of the energy that you bring when you come into this space. People being together creates this unbelievable energy, and we all feel that we're missing that. This space in so many ways has been like an intermediary between the physical world and the spiritual realm. This is the place where we look for transcendence, where we seek peace of mind. This place, this space is a catalyst for spiritual growth for so many of us. Even if you only come here once or twice a year, even if you only come into these walls on the High Holy Days, this is your place where you pray, where you connect. Next week, we won't have that to rely upon. And over the last several weeks, one of the biggest questions that I've gotten from people is, how are the High Holy Days going to be meaningful for me when I'm in the same room that I've been in for the last 6, 7 months? I love going to the synagogue and the sanctuary. I'm really, really going to miss it. I'm really going to miss the community. It is an incredibly important question, and one that every single one of us is trying to come to terms with for this High Holy Days. This week I received an email from Rabbi Lawrence Hoffman, who was a professor of liturgy at Hebrew Union College in New York. And he wrote in his blog, quote, "Synagogues didn't actually become centers for prayer until the 4th century, or maybe even the 6th century. So while churches eclipsed Christian homes, the synagogue arose as just one of 2 sacred foci for Jews, who even now celebrate Shabbat and holidays in our homes. Shabbat and holiday dinners, Passover seders, building a sukkah in our home, as much as we go into the synagogue." Unquote. Well, I find that fascinating and true. The High Holy Days, besides Rosh Hashanah Eve dinner and lunch after services where everyone goes and critiques the sermons all around Los Angeles, most of it does happen in the sanctuary all over the world, except this year. This year is going to be obviously very different. So I'm going to ask you back, is our connection to God, is our connection to Judaism, or our connection to this congregation based upon the bricks and mortar and chairs in this room? Are our prayers somehow heard better while we're sitting in the seats in this space? Do we need an intermediary like this space or clergy live in front of us to experience spiritual connection? The Chatam Sofer, a wonderful commentator, offers this from the first line in our Torah portion this week. He writes, and this is the first line of the Torah portion, "You stand this day, all of you, before Adonai your God. At the time the Torah was given, we are told in Deuteronomy 5:5, I stood, this is Moses talking, I stood between Adonai and you. How is it that here, just before death, Moses does not stand between God and the Jewish people? One can explain this in accordance with what I heard from my great mentor, Rabbi Natan Adler. As long as a person's teacher is alive, his student cannot reach his greatest potential. This was the case with Joshua, whose light was not revealed until after Moses had died. Similarly, God did not appear to Isaac until Abraham had died. And the same was true of Jacob until Isaac died. The same was true here. Moses told the people, as it were, there at Sinai, my presence that prevented you from coming closer to God. It was as if Moses had served as a partition, preventing the people from attaining a level which would allow them to approach God. At this point, however, Moses was about to die. And as a person who is about to die has lost all his authority, the people were able to approach God directly, unquote. I realize that there is a certain formality, a feeling that comes from praying and singing and listening in this room. I love this room. I love the feeling I get as I walk into this room. Even with all these cameras and all these lights and all that. But perhaps we have relied too much on this space. And that we, the clergy and the symbols in this room, and the reliance upon all of it, is to help us get into a prayerful space that might have been actually getting in the way of our true connection. Maybe without all of this present for you, or the fact that all of this has been taken from us, just like Moses was taken from the people, like Abraham from Isaac, and Isaac from Jacob. Maybe it has all served as a partition that has kept us from a deeper connection with the divine. It's scary to think about that we don't need the synagogue or clergy. Wait, maybe I shouldn't say that or I'd be out of a job. But to actually get there this year, we need something else. I'm not discounting the importance of feeling of community, but that really has been taken from us in a certain way. And I do believe in the value of communal worship and connection, but it's all so different right now. So I think we can call upon another section of our Torah portion that is significant to our predicament. In 30:11, and I'm going to paraphrase this. In 30:11 it says, surely this instruction, this teaching, this Torah is not too far from you. You don't need someone to say, is this teaching in heaven that I have to send someone up into space to take it for me and bring it back and give it to me? Or it's not across an ocean that I have to send someone in a ship to go across the ocean and get it and bring it to me. It is very close to you. It is in your mouth and it is in your heart to observe it. We have everything we need, and it's right here. It is in each of us. It's on our lips, and it's in our heart. And we really do have all that we need. Each one of us needs to realize that we have the ability and the power within us, inside of us, to make these high holy days meaningful. So what does your heart tell you to do with your home to make your home into its own little sanctuary? Is it going to take putting candles up? Is it going to take getting as dressed up like you were going to services on High Holy Days? Does it take putting pictures all around you of your loved ones and your friends so you can feel like they're with you? How can you make it into a place where you have the room to think and to pray and to reflect and ultimately to rejuvenate yourself for the upcoming year? Maybe we just treat our homes as if they are the sanctuary. And I might suggest, along with those other things like candles or pictures or rearranging the room, maybe you could pick a room where you haven't been on a Zoom call in the last 6 months. Would watching from outside where you can be in nature, or from a room that you aren't in all the time, and you arrange the chairs so that they're special and they're facing east, or whatever it is that brings you closer from your heart so that the words can come out of your mouth more easily. We have everything we need, and it really isn't so far from you. It really is right here, and it's right here. May we all make this year a personal experience of transformation and renewal. Ken Yeh Ratzon, may it be God's will. Now we transition towards the end of our service, and we'll do that with Aleinu. So if you'd like to, at your seats at home, if you'd like to rise, we will do so here as we sing Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוצר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
We now turn in a moment to Kaddish Yatom. Normally, one of our presidents gives the announcements as their message, but because of today's date, we asked Jeffrey Wharton to give us a special introduction to the Kaddish prayer so we can say Kaddish for all of those who were lost in 9/11. And what you may not know about Jeffrey Wharton is that he was in charge of the World Trade Center as the real estate management company. And that morning, he took an elevator down to the bottom floor, and the moment those doors opened is when the first plane hit. So, Jeffrey?
On September 18th, a week after the terrorist attack, I obtained permission to visit Ground Zero and to inspect the damage that had been done during the attack. We drove down the West Side Highway and the experience was surreal. The road was lined with military in full combat uniforms, and overhead you could hear the fighter jets protecting the city. When we arrived there, you could see that the full 2.5 million feet of space that was below grade was filled with the debris from the destroyed towers. As I walked around, I noticed a piece of material on the ground that was part of what had been the foundation, and I picked it up not knowing what I was going to do with it, but I wanted to be connected with the experience, so I took it with me. A week later, Sue and I went to Yankee Stadium and joined 15,000 people for what was called a Prayer for America. The service itself was conducted by members of various Christian denominations, 3 rabbis, and leaders from the Sikh, Hindu, and Muslim communities. A rabbi sounded the shofar, and a second rabbi giving us a prayer, which I remember to this day. He said, please don't think about 3,000 people dying, because it's only a number. Think about one person dying 3,000 times. It was at that moment that I knew what I was going to do with the piece of material I picked up from the bottom of the Trade Center. As soon as a book was issued that had the portraits and profiles of all those who lost their lives on 9/11, I put the rock on top of it, much as you would a pebble in a cemetery. It's a way of my paying respect and honor to those who lost their lives, and constantly reminding myself of the gratitude I feel for every day. The service ended with the singing of America the Beautiful. And what was exceptional, without prompting, people put their arms around each other. We came as strangers and we left as brothers and sisters. Now, 19 years later, as we honor the memories of those who lost their lives on 9/11, I know that we started this service as strangers, many of us, and we leave as brothers and sisters. Thank you for sharing this with me tonight. God bless each one of you, and God bless America. Good Shabbos.
Thank you so much, Jeffrey, for those incredibly moving words and sharing your life with us in that way. We really appreciate that. As we move to Kaddish Yatom, the following families are observing Shloshim, the first 30 days after the death of a loved one: Alex Magavim, Mike Mahmoud Shafi, Charlotte Sine, and Ardith Dreschfeld. We also recall those that have died at this season in years past. We especially remember Jack White and Belle Sokoloff. As you see the names coming up on our screen, these are the names of those in our congregational family who have died at this season in years past. To those names, we add the following:
Harriet Stone, Jeff Stone, Parvin Hakakian, Mike Hughes, Ian Michael Hughes Wilson, Bess Lurie, the 9/11 fallen, and the NYPD, NYFD Port Authority heroes who ran into the fires to rescue them. Jules Levine.
All those names called are in our hearts. We add to that all those that have no one to say Kaddish for them, and those who were lost in the Holocaust, those who have died from COVID-19, those who have died from the violence of recent times, and we also remember all of those whose lives were lost on 9/11. We say Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon v'yamechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'gala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'l'olmei olmaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudesha b'rechu le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran b'yalma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mrumav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May God, who grants peace on high, bring peace to all of us on earth. And we say, amen. Before we do our last song, we have some announcements to make. I don't know if you know this, but next Saturday is the 1st of Tishrei. I don't know if you're aware of that, Cantor. That means?
Hanukkah.
I'm not quite sure about that.
It means that this is our last Friday night service.
This is the last Friday night of
the year.
5780.
That is true.
Yeah.
The 80s are come and gone.
No, we're just
They're just
starting.
getting started. It's next Friday night. It'll be same place, looking a little different.
It will look a lot different, and we have some amazing music that has been recorded. We have congregants that have volunteered to do readings and light the candles. Hopefully you'll see many of your friends in the service, but we hope that it is something that can bring us all together, even though we are physically separate.
Our services are streaming just like how you see us right now.
Right.
So please,
And
everyone is welcome.
And they're free.
And they're free. So free for you to share
Yes.
with all of your friends and family. But
Correct.
seriously, there's not a paywall behind our services. So we would love to invite you to be a member of our High Holiday community.
Absolutely. We need to thank Robert for keeping us safe, Melvin for keeping us clean, and Daniel, of course, for being amazing and doing all of our sound and our visuals. We hope to see you next week. And we will end with where we began. Olam chesed yibaneh. After every tragedy, after everything that comes upon us, we do rebuild. And the only way to do it is through love.
Olam chesed yibaneh.
feel blessed and safe. May you feel luminous and loved. May you feel joyous and whole.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.